Hello, my name is Linda Perry. I'm a BMC solution engineer. We're doing a series of videos about BMC Helix dashboards and how to utilize them, mostly with BMC Helix operations management. This is the second video about using variables. And the topics that we will cover will be about static queries and what they're like, and creating variables and utilizing them within queries to make your query more flexible, and utilizing those variables within the panel as well. So here we are at our dashboard that we created in our first video, and we utilized a static query here. I'm going to put this back to a graph just to show us the record that shows up. So we have offline databases, and it's for the host name of mwwsqlbmc.com. So to be specific about what host name this query refers to, I can enter the host name field and make it equal to my server name. And that's the same query, but if I had more than one host name, I would only retrieve the one that I specified in the query. So I'm going to show you how to turn that into a variable. So we'll apply this because we're going to come back to it. So now that we've saved it, I'm going to go ahead into the dashboard settings, which are that little icon that looks like a gear. And within here, there is a section called variables. We'll add a variable here. We give it a name. And we give it a data source, which is BMC Helix. And then we enter the query. And we're looking for entity type ID because that's what the application class relates to from our PRD spreadsheet. So now let's look back at the spreadsheet real quick. You can see that in the Microsoft SQL Server KM, all of the application class names begin with MSSQL underscore something. So I'm going to use that within my query. In this regular expression section, I'm going to look for MSSQL, anything that starts with that and an underscore. And instead of all of the different data points that are in the system, I'm going to find one specific to MSSQL. And I'm filtering this dashboard based on this variable. So I add that variable, it's called application. So now we've defined that variable, application, and you can see that it shows up at the top of your dashboard screen. And I can make selections of the different applications if I wanted to from here. Now I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to hide this variable. So I'm going to edit this application. And I'm going to hide my variable from the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and create a second variable called host. And then the label that's going to show up on the screen in that drop-down box is going to be called host name. So again, I use BMC Helix. My query is a little different this time. I'm going to query for anything that has the field of host name, but also has the entity type that we just defined of MSSQL underscore, so that we are filtering our dashboard based on the application name. So once I do that, I only have one host name that shows up. Most of the times you're going to have a lot more host names than I do in my demo environment. So I'll add that one. And I can utilize that within my dashboard now. So let me save so that I don't have any issues. I don't want to lose anything. Now earlier we had edited this offline database panel, and we manually added the MSSQL BMC host here. But now I can use my variable name, $host, and apply it. So I could select if I had more than one, I could select more than one if I wanted to. So now the other dashboard as well, we might want to edit that and add that variable into the query. But before we do that, I just want to show you a couple other things that we can do on the dashboard with that variable called $host. So you can't really tell that it changed anything because I only have one host name here. But if I put $host here, watch my title change. And my legend Instead of having this big long record as my legend for this graph, I can put $host here and I could have my host name.